KCCI Storm Team 8 meteorologist David Keller. We continue to follow some severe thunderstorms here across northern Iowa. We do have a pretty big expanse of the northern part of the state under a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 1:30 p.m. for this line of storms. It's just about to move into Algona and Humboldt, about to cross the Highway 69 corridor there, just to the northwest of Fort Dodge. Again, the main risk with this line of storms continues to be about 60-mile-an-hour winds. These storms are moving fairly quickly off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. It looks like the strongest core of the winds is just about to pass between Algona and Humboldt, right along 169 here as this continues to push to the east. So again, wind gusts around 60 miles an hour going to be the main risk with this line of storms as it continues to push eastward. We can show you some of those stronger winds, kind of the brighter greens here. It's not really lining up really well because of the angle that the storms are to the radar site here in Des Moines, but we are seeing some indication that winds are around 40 to maybe 45 miles an hour, perhaps. Again, some gusts up to about 60 miles an hour as this continues to work its way to the east. So again, crossing right over the Highway 169 corridor here between Algona and Humboldt, right over Livermore. This continues to push eastward at about 55 miles an hour. Wind gust about 60 miles an hour. The main risk with this line of storms as it continues to push across the area. Coming to the south just a little bit. This is now east of Pocahontas, near Gilmore City, just west of Humboldt. Maybe some quarter to $half sized hail possible with these storms as well as they push to the east. And ahead of the main line, we have this storm east of Livermore. This also could be producing some hail as it continues to push to the east toward Highway 17. So again, this line of storms between Algona and Humboldt, perhaps some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts right now. We've been watching our camera here in Algona as the storm is beginning to push into town. The strongest winds likely just to pass just to the south of town. That's going to be on the left side of the camera here, kind of where some of those darker clouds are. But again, that severe thunderstorm warning remains in place there across northern Iowa through 1:30. So that does give us about another 15, 16 more minutes here for this line of storms as it continues to push to the east. Not as organized as perhaps it was a little bit ago. You can see the motion here from west to east continues to move to the east right around 55 miles per hour. So if we put a storm track on this line, this entire line here, as it continues to move eastward, it is moving pretty quickly. So we'll put it out there about 50, 55 miles an hour. So moving into Algona right now. Hopefully you're getting inside, kind of just take shelter indoors until this storm passes on by. We haven't gotten any reports of any damage here recently, so that's some good news. This will bring it into Humboldt by about 125. You have one storm to the north, the main line here just to your west there in Humboldt. Badger by about 135, Britt by about 140 or 145, Clarion by about 150. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning continues through 1:30. We'll see if it can hold together and if they will issue any, if the National Weather Service will issue any additional warnings here further to the east. The line, again, not quite as organized as it was earlier. We have had some reports of some 1.5-inch diameter hail back toward Holstein, but we haven't had any reports recently with this line of storms as it continues to push eastward. So that's a little bit of good news right there. But Algona down toward Humboldt, you're really kind of under the gun right now from this line of storms as it continues to push eastward. So we'll come in a little bit closer here toward Algona. You can see the storm kind of overhead right now. Maybe some wind gusts. I think the strongest wind gusts are probably going to be down to the south toward Irvington as this line is pushing across southern Kossuth County down toward St. Joseph, Livermore, Luverne as this is pushing eastward. Maybe some hail with that storm there. And then as we continue down 169 toward Humboldt, you can see some stronger storms here just to the west of the highway, and these will continue to push to the east as this whole line is moving east about 55 miles an hour. Closer to the metro, not a lot going on. We are seeing perhaps a little bit of thunderstorm activity trying to pop up just to the northwest of town. So we come in toward Jefferson, to the west of Boone, out toward Carroll. A little bit of activity trying to pop up here. If we put this into motion for you, looks like those have just kind of popped up in the past couple of minutes. So nothing severe there, but those could roll toward Jefferson, Boone, maybe Ames over the next hour. So again, checking the skies here in Algona as that storm is pushing into town. Strongest likely passing just to the south of Algona here this afternoon as this line continues to work its way to the east at about 55 miles per hour. That severe thunderstorm warning in place until 1:30. We have some wind gusts potentially up to about 60 miles an hour, maybe some quarter-sized hail gale with this line as it continues to roll eastward. So Algona, Humboldt, you're kind of under the gun right now, and then this line will continue to push east toward Forest City and Clarion. That severe thunderstorm warning continues for about another 13 minutes. We will continue to monitor this line as it continues across northern Iowa. Again, here in the metro, we are quiet, just hot and humid out there. We will certainly keep you advised of any additional warnings or if there are any reports of damage coming in with this line. Otherwise, we're going to send you back to your regular programming. Stay safe out there this afternoon.